What if one of the most important people in Motown history wasn't the singer standing under the spotlight, but the woman who started out answering phones? Janie Bradford Hobbs, the songwriter behind one of Motown's earliest breakthrough hits, has died at 87 after an extended illness. Her death closes the chapter on a remarkable career that began at the front desk and eventually helped shape the music of Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, the Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas, and generations of artists who followed. AAP News +1 Bradford Hobbs died August 21 at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, according to her family. She was born in Charleston, Missouri, and later moved to Detroit, where a chance connection with singer Jackie Wilson changed the direction of her life. Wilson introduced her to a young Berry Gordy, the man who was building what would become Motown, and in 1958, Bradford joined the company as a receptionist. But she wasn't going to stay behind that desk for long. Rolling Stone Australia +1. Here's where the story gets extraordinary. In the earliest days of Motown, the lines between office worker, songwriter, producer, and supporter weren't nearly as rigid as they are in today's music business. Bradford became part of that creative circle, and while working with Gordy, she helped create Money, That's What I Want. Barrett Strong recorded the song in 1959, and it became Motown's first major hit, reaching No. 2 on the U.S. R&B chart and No. 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. Motown Museum +1. And then, something happened that helped turn a Detroit record into an international piece of music history. The Beatles recorded Money for their 1963 album With the Beatles, while the Rolling Stones also recorded their own version. What started in Motown's early creative days had suddenly traveled across the Atlantic and into the hands of some of the biggest bands in rock history. Bradford wasn't simply associated with Motown's rise. Her songwriting was literally part of the foundation. The history makers, but Money was only the beginning. Bradford also co-wrote Too Busy Thinking About My Baby, a song first recorded by The Temptations that later became a major hit for Marvin Gaye. Gaye's version reached No. 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 Inches 1969, giving Bradford another connection to one of the defining voices of Motown's golden era. Her songwriting credits also extended to artists including Stevie Wonder, Mary Wells, the Supremes, and Martha and the Vandellas. The history makers +1. There's another part of her career that's easy to overlook. Bradford eventually became head of writer relations for Jobite, Motown's publishing company, putting her in a position to work with and advocate for songwriters beyond her own recordings. She spent decades connected to the Motown world, and later used that experience to create something that had nothing to do with chart positions. She founded the Heroes and Legends Awards and Scholarship Program, which recognized entertainment figures while helping young people pursue careers in the performing arts. AAP News +1. The first Heroes and Legends dinner was held in 1990 at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and the organization says its scholarship fund eventually awarded more than 70 scholarships. Bradford had recognized a problem that extended far beyond music. Talented young people could have the ability and ambition to succeed, but not necessarily the financial support to get there. So, after helping build Motown's legacy, she spent years helping create opportunities for the next generation. HalAwards.com +1. Berry Gordy's reaction to her death says a lot about the role she played. Gordy remembered Bradford as someone who was there before Motown had even become Motown, describing her as part of the original family of people who believed in the dream before anyone knew what it would become. That's an important distinction, because the Motown story is usually told through the stars: Diana Ross, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, and so many others. But behind those names was an entire community of people whose contributions helped turn a small Detroit operation into a cultural force. Los Angeles Times +1. And maybe that's the most fitting way to remember Janie Bradford Hobbs. She wasn't just someone who happened to write a famous song. She was part of the machinery, creativity, and belief that made Motown possible in the first place, and then she spent much of her later life making sure other people's dreams had a chance to continue. Her music lives on every time those songs are played, and her legacy lives on through the artists and students she helps support. Bradford is survived by her husband, Gordy Hobbs, her daughter Nicole Hobbs, her son Lance Finney, and 2 grandsons. Funeral arrangements have not yet been completed. AP News +1. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Prime Wire, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news. Thanks for watching.